Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR, the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we're going to talk about the Dem Rhino coalition of fucking scumbags who are trying to now screw over the Ohio congressional districts here in the state and basically give Democrats more power. So, for those that don't know who Maureen O'Connor is, she, along with Yvette McGee Brown, who was a literal one-term appointee to the state Supreme Court under Ted Strickland's ass, and actually took over the remainder of the term that O'Connor had when she became Chief Justice back in 2010 or so. So basically, you have these two women joining a bunch of other people who I guarantee are all Soros paid shills and Bloomberg paid shills, etc. there in the latest shell corporation for the globalist fuckery is what it is here in Ohio, where they are now trying to do a thing called citizens not politicians and create some bullshit coalition, literally communist coalition is what I want to call it from now on, that's what it really is, to essentially take over our state and become and basically be the 15 people that would appoint our redistricting maps and stuff like that going forward. And it's like, you know what, Yvette, you know what, Maureen, go fuck yourselves, you fucking cunts. We've already had this talk months ago. You want something on the books? One county, one rep, bitches, or shut the fuck up. But of course you won't, because we all know this, and I talked about this well over a year ago with my own state rep, Reggie Stolfus, when we had that conversation back in 2022 there. I was calling then for O'Connor's arrest. I was calling then for O'Connor's impeachment. Because she was fucking with the maps then. She literally sided with 3 Democrats on the state Supreme Court to try to fuck over our maps and everything else like that, claiming they were unconstitutional. Yet, when you finally did have like circuit courts get involved in the shit, they're like, no, they're fine, dude. Go ahead and use them. And that's the entire problem right now. You have people like O'Connor who should have been impeached out of office, and the reason that she wasn't is because you have so many goddamn rhinos in our fucking state house currently that when I was talking to Stolfus, I was like, why are you guys not impeaching this bitch? He's like, oh, this. By the way, this was his direct quote to me that day. If you're gonna kill the king, make sure your shot doesn't miss. We don't have enough people for the impeachment to be a complete 100% veto-proof majority. They couldn't get the 60 votes when they had over 60 people in the state house at the time. That's what fucking pisses me off, dude. And it makes sense going forward now here a couple of years or so, because what did you have recently? The beginning of this year, actually. You had scumbag Jason Stevens, the current so-called House Speaker, going and blowing Allison Russo, one of the biggest fucking criminals in the state house currently, to get all 32 Democrats to back his ass for the fucking speakership, and then found 22 Republicans in our state house as well to back his ass. In reality, Derek Marin should be the current House Speaker in the state of Ohio, the 4th guy in line to succession of the governorship. Well, technically, I mean, I guess it could be technically considered 3rd. I don't know, because it'd be governor, and then lieutenant governor would take over for governor, and then Speaker of the or Senate President would take over in that line, and then it would be Speaker of the House. And then I forget who it's underneath that. It's like President Pro Tempe or something like that, or one of those guys like that. I think it's like I think it kind of flip flops after that, where it's like, or wait, no, never mind. That would be farther down the line. Yeah, I'm thinking of federal line of succession is what it is. No, for Ohio, it goes governor, lieutenant governor, secretary, Senate President, Speaker of the House, Secretary of State, AG, AG is further down. It's Secretary of State, Auditor, Treasurer. I forget which one's which, and then the opposite one is the next in line, and then it would be AG, and then I think there's something after AG, but I can't remember what it is offhand. But yeah, so basically, it's like every high position of power in the state then after the governorship and stuff like that. And then I think eventually it would have, if you have like everybody basically, knocked out for various crimes and stuff like that in one shot, it would basically go to like one of the highest ranking people in one of the either House or Senate sides is what it would be then, like President pro tempore or something like that. So anyway, but the entire point I'm trying to make is that O'Connor right now should be in Ohio State prison currently on at least a dozen felonies for everything she did with her district maps and stuff like that, and siding with Democrats and bullshit judgments and everything else like that. And it's ridiculous to see her come back around and be like, well, now I'm going to lead this thing that claims citizen initiative. It's like, bitch, you ain't no fucking citizen initiative. You are 100% a fucking Bloomberg and Soros paid shill. I almost guarantee you that the crimes of Alice Russo I've been talking about for the past couple of years now, where she took that fat ass envelope full of cash from Moms of Action members, I would not be the least bit surprised, given the fact that Russo was not technically in the chamber that day, if she actually just walked her ass out of that fucking room, walked like 100 feet in some direction there, went straight to Maureen O'Connor's doorstep there in one of the other buildings is what it was there, and was like, knock, knock, I have a file and some stuff from Maureen. And then it's just this fat envelope full of cash and like a file is what it would be then. Like, would it surprise me if that actually happened? No, it wouldn't, dude. And that's what I'm saying. That's just, my guesstimation on the thing of what happened to that cash, actually. Either that or it was used for Allison Russo's bullshit Congressional at the time. Who knows? But either way, it was money that was clearly a bribe. So, the fact that Russo has yet to be indicted on that shit either is fucking ridiculous, especially when you can go, federally now and you look at the bullshit going on with Trump currently, and you have that piece of shit Fani Willis down there in Georgia, who should be in prison right now because she's a Soros DA as well, for that matter, and is trying to indict Trump and Giuliani and a bunch of other lawyers and stuff like that. And it's like, I'll tell you what, dude, there's a reason why our founding fathers talked about high treason in this country, honestly, and what the penalty for high treason was. For those who don't know what it is, obviously, I'm not going to mention it right now, but like, go look it up, dude. It's been used in the past. We used to use it. I think the last time it was really used was against like Russian spies and stuff like that. So that was back in like the 1930s or 40s or something like that was when that happened. And yeah, needless to say, it worked well back then. It could still work well today. Is what it is, man. And the entire point of the matter is, it's like the fact that we have people who are actively trying to fuck over a presidency pretty soon with bullshit indictments and everything else like that. And again, it goes back to all the fuckery, dude. And it's like, at what point is the break in this country? I think, honestly, and it's something we talked about yesterday, even with the left basically talking about the right, talking about civil war now and stuff like that. Even though the left ones are the ones doing it and stuff. It's like I talked with that one guy, the dude yesterday, who was mentioning like, oh, what about if they use pipe bombs and stuff? And it's like, the fact that that was like their first intention, like as some leftists, by the way, kind of makes me wonder, like, are these motherfuckers in Antifa and BLM, etc., literally making pipe bombs right now for potential civil war? It wouldn't surprise me, honestly, dude. Although, to be fair, I'm not so sure they'd have the skill set to do it, is what it is, just because a lot of them are like very smooth brain dipshits, is what it is. Now, granted, that being said, it doesn't mean you couldn't have like one or two people smart enough to actually make the shit, and you just have everybody else gathering materials for them and stuff like that. That being said, it seems like if you go back to looking at what Antifa's tactics usually are and stuff like that, it's just them grabbing Molotov cocktails and tossing them against buildings and shit like that and burning places up like that. So, although, it wouldn't surprise me if they went one step further at this point. Because, I mean, the thing is, they have used, like, other stuff in the past when it comes to different stuff. I know during the 2020 riots and things like that, they used to use a lot of fireworks and stuff like that, like various mortars and shit that they were stealing from the back of 18-wheelers and things like that were going through these places and getting stopped. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to do something to like explosive devices and stuff like that. Is what it'll be then, if things ever do kick off in this country. And it's sad to say, man, like we really are on the precipice, I think, of something right now. And as I know the guys were talking about last night on NEA's chat, a lot of it has to do with the fact that the reason we haven't seen something break off yet, I think, is because people are still too comfortable. You still have, like, this is the thing. We still, we have crazy inflation. Everything's being inflated like crazy. I was reading, I was watching a little video this morning, of this dude talking about the housing market recently, and it was basically 95, 2019, and then 2023. And between 95 and 2019, there really wasn't much of a jump. Like, it was basically what you would assume over 25 years. There's what it is. And then in the last 4 years now, you've had it basically double again to where now 49+% of your income would be going towards a mortgage, plus food expenses, plus cost of living, etc. And then people wonder why, millennials and anybody else for that matter that's like a younger generation is pissed off right now because they can't afford homes, is what it is. And it is bullshit, dude. And like, that's the thing. Like, technically speaking, like, I am a quote millennial, but I'm not really millennial. I'm a zennial. I'm that mix between Gen X and millennials then. And it's like that. There's like a 10-year time period or so there that I fall into from 1985 then. But the whole point is, though, is that I couldn't afford a house right now. Even if I had some money right now, I couldn't afford a house just because shit's so expensive, dude. I mean, I've been looking for real estate recently, and it's just crazy high anyway. Like, I would literally have to hit a lottery right now to even get a piece of property around here in the state of Ohio, dude. And the thing is, Ohio living is not that high. And you can get some decent places for not too much, but it's like, at the same time, most of the time, it's just land. It's not, actual, it's just the bare land. You have to put a house and stuff on it yourself, so it'll be then. So, unless you want to put up like a trailer or something, or maybe like one of the fabricated houses or whatever, then, which I'm not knocking those things. Those are not bad. The issue though becomes is that if I was going to live in like, essentially what equates to a double wide or something like that, I would want to have 100% a dugout basement underneath that thing, number one, and then number two, within about probably 20 to 50 yards or so, give or take. Like, I would say probably about 20 yards from the house or so. I'd want to have a cellar that is dug out as well, just in case of tornadoes and things like that, or it'd be like natural disasters where we have to leave the house and stuff and not get killed in it, and then we could actually flee to the cellars, would be then, and have a safe area for ourselves. And if I was going to do that, what I would actually do is I'd do like a double thing there, where it'd be you would have like the bricked out cellar, and we'd have like an actual door to the bottom of it then that could be locked and like reinforced from behind, where you could do like a little like latch thing on it. And then you would actually have like the staircase leading down to it that would all be made of like cement blocks and stuff like that too as well. And then it would be the top thing you just pull off, is what it would be then. So it wouldn't be like that dumbass shit from the movie Twister, where that guy literally is like trying to hold the door shut and then gets yanked out. Like, nah, bro, it'd be much better than that, honestly. And way more reinforceable and stuff like that. So anyway, but getting back to the topic at hand here, which would be the Dem and RINO fuckery here. So basically, for those that don't know what Marina Connor and Yvette McGee Brown look like, so here is a picture that I'm going to pull up here of O'Connor. This was the chick who was Supreme Court Justice for the last few years here, and then she became a total just sack of shit in her last year or so. And of course, she was under that piece of crap Bob Taft, who was also one of the biggest scumbags in our state currently, is what it is, dude. It's interesting when you look at the state of Ohio. It's funny what's funny to me too, by the way, is you have Marine's ass talking about criminality in this state, in this country, or whatever, and talking about like gerrymandering and stuff. Yet, when you look at the corruption of Ohio, she is basically prime example number one of the corruption in the state of Ohio right now, and just the complete scumbag shit going on in this entire state, dude. Just the lifetime politicians, the lifetime criminals, et cetera, there. The same thing with Bob Taft, the same thing with Ted Strickland, everyone, dude. They're all a bunch of scumbags. Even DeWine nowadays is fucking scumbag. Like, I've said it before, dude. Honestly, this is a problem right now, truthfully speaking, and I've said it many, many times in this whole thing. If any person that had been running for governor as an independent last year had their name on the fucking ballot, DeWine wouldn't be governor right now. Nan Whaley was the biggest piece of shit Democrat in that fucking race entirely. She was a baby killer. She was an anti-gunner. She should have been tossed out of the race entirely, just based on the platform she was running upon. Yet you then had 4 or 5 people who were all various independent people that were writing candidates for the governorship, but yet not one of them were able to have their name on that ballot. If they would have, you would have had a whole different governorship right now. Even if, and I would say that the same thing as well for that matter, if you had dipshit Joe Blystone jump out of the fucking race and just endorse Renacci or somebody, dude, Renacci would have primaried DeWine's ass out very easily. And you would have had Jim Renacci under the governorship right now. So it's a whole bunch of shit there, dude, entirely. And the reason I say Blystone's a dipshit is because 2 reasons, honestly. He was stupid enough to do all kinds of criminal shit while running for governor, including committing a bunch of FEC violations. Also, when I was actually in the race for the governorship back in 2020, he sat there and tried to claim he was jumping in the race because there was no viable candidates at the time. Fuck you, Joe Blystone. The only thing I did not have behind me, dude, was a bunch of money. If I had had millions of dollars, I would have had a viable candidacy. Not that I wasn't running on a great platform back then. But that's the entire point of the matter. I didn't have the millions of dollars to back my ass up, is what it was. And I find it very ironic, too, that now Blystone is now selling Blystone Farms. When I was looking at real estate here recently, I saw this nice looking place. I'm like, oh, that's pretty nice. And then I noticed it had it looked like a little restaurant. And I'm like, this is interesting. Like, it's pretty close to Columbus. Like, what is this place? And I looked at it and it's like Blystone Farms was on the front of the thing. And I'm like, oh shit, bro. So I'm guessing that grifter sack of crap is actually trying to pack up shop now at this point, is what it is. Because he knows he can't run in Ohio ever again, pretty much. At least for the next, I think it's like 7 to 10 years or something. Underneath the conditions that he had to meet is what it was. And then now he's basically just trying to sell off everything and take his grift someplace else. And that's what it is. Because people already called his ass out for what he really was, dude. And the thing is, that guy, like, honestly, Joe Blystone should be in prison right now in Ohio, too, for that matter, because he embezzled a fuck ton of money from the state of Ohio in various farm subsidies and everything else like that over the past 20 years or so. So, yeah, the guy's a sack of crap in general. And that's what the problem is with most of the people, dude. Most of the ones that will get in there that don't actually give a shit about the Constitution just want power. They just want power and the ability to do more corruption is what it is. And that's why they will call themselves politicians and stuff like that instead of civil servants. So, anyway. But, yeah, then going on to Yvette McGee-Brown, who's the other idiot in this coalition thing here. This is a picture of Yvette here. And as I said here, born in Columbus, Ohio, became the first African-American female justice on the Ohio Supreme Court when she took office January 1st, 2011, was the founding president of the Center for Child and Family Advocacy at Nationwide Children's Hospital, and was a judge of the Franklin County Court of Common Pleas for 9 years. Brown was inducted into the Ohio Women's Hall of Fame in 2008. Where right now? I was trying to figure out where the career part was here. Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah, here we go. December 10th, 2010, Governor Ted Strickland, who's a sack of shit, who was against issue 1, appointed Yvette McGee-Brown to the Ohio Supreme Court effective January 1st, 2011, to fill the remainder of the term of Associate Justice Maureen O'Connor, who was elected to Chief Justice on November 2nd during an election cycle. She was defeated in her bid for re-election by current Supreme Court Justice Sharon L. Kennedy. Yvette's term ended December 31st, 2012. So she was never even elected, dude. That's the entire problem right there. She wants to sit here and bitch and moan about, like, I was an ex-Supreme Court Justice. No, bitch, you were a fucking appointee. You were an appointee, just like that fuck knuckle that DeWine appointed to the Supreme Court recently to take over the rest of Sharon's term. Even though what should have happened was you should have actually had a special election this past May where you would have, or even during issue 1 for that matter, you should have had a special election then to determine who would actually be the Supreme Court Justice then. So that's my biggest problem. And it's the same bullshit that we've seen with many, many things in this state right now. That's actually one thing that if we do get one county, one rep in place there, we would actually add that into legislation is what it would be then for that amendment. Would be any, I think I actually talked about it before. I think it might be already been there. I'm thinking about it. But yeah, it'd be any single person that would be resigning from office, get another position of power somehow, whatever the case be, and have like a term left or whatever. The remainder of that term would be a person that is voted on by we the people. And I think that's why people are pissed off right now, dude. And I don't blame them because I'm pissed off too. It's like, it's fucking bullshit, dude. Like, we didn't choose this motherfucker or that motherfucker or that motherfucker. It's like, no, we voted for these people over here that are no longer in office now. You know, it's just like the people that voted for Chris Jordan. They voted for Chris Jordan in that district. And then what happened? Chris, unfortunately, died of some kind of fucked up thing, or whatever it was. Like, I don't know if it was just like some tragic death or it was something else for that matter. You know, hell, for all I know, the guy was fucking poisoned by the Democrat Party for that matter. Would that really surprise me if it was that case? Hell no, it wouldn't fucking surprise me on that be the case, dude. The fact that he was like the biggest Pro 2A champion here, the fact that if it wasn't for Chris Jordan, we wouldn't have constitutional carry right now, or stand your ground for that matter in the state of Ohio. Would it really surprise me if that bitch Allison Russo or anybody else for that matter, that fucking up Casey Weinstein or any of these other douchebags that are like rank and file Democrats, like slipped something in this motherfucker's drink one day and killed him? Hell no, it wouldn't, dude. Now, granted, that's all speculation. Like, just to point that out, you know, that's just speculation, hearsay, et cetera there. But yeah, would it actually surprise me? No, it wouldn't surprise me at all, dude. And that's what I'm saying. Like, but that's the problem right now. You know, you have what equates to like going, you know, bridging off that basically. Then you have actual political assassinations in this country, like the murder of Aaron J. Danielson a couple years ago when it came down to Portland, Oregon there, about 3-4 years back now. Like I mentioned, I think it was yesterday actually. And it was him being killed by some fucking Antifa piece of shit. And then you had like 10 to 12 other people that were also involved in that guy's murder. And none of those people were ever charged with anything because, again, shocker, fucking Mike Schmidt, another Soros DA there in Oregon, never charges these people is what it is, dude. Like, that's the real problem right now, honestly, is like, we need to be prosecuting these Soros DAs is what it is. And putting them in prison where they fucking belong, dude. And if anything, like, and I've said it many times before, honestly, the worst problem with America currently and how we get corrupt as we are as a country right now, politically, is by allowing outside money into statewide races. Stop allowing that nationwide, for that matter, dude. There should honestly be a nationwide, potentially constitutional amendment for that matter, that blocks any outside funding in any state race. And even if you're running for a federal position of power for that matter, it would still block it on that level too, for that matter. Because, again, if you were running to represent, I don't know, the state of Ohio or the state of New York or whatever the case be, that's where your funds should be coming from. It shouldn't be, hey, I'm running for congressman out of Ohio, but yet there's a bunch of New York billionaires backing my ass or California billionaires backing my ass now for this whole position of power. Like, nah, dude, fuck you. You're out of the race. It's as simple as that. You know, for real. It's a bunch of shit, dude. So, anyway, but going on to read this article from Cleveland.com, though, which is about this bullshit coalition that O'Connor and Brown are creating, basically. And that's the reason why I did the whole back thing here for the last 20 minutes or so with these people, because I want people to know who we're talking about is what it is here. So, quote, backers of Ohio independent my ass, redistricting amendment revealed details of proposal. This happened last night. Said Columbus, Ohio, redistricting activists laid out their roadmap Monday on a quest to cut the cord between elected office holders and drawing the lines that establish their office boundaries. The proposed amendment, which they submitted to Attorney General Dave Yost's office on Monday, calls for the creation of a 15-member Ohio Citizen Redistricting Commission made up of Republicans, Democrats, and Independents from around the state. Yeah, and how much you want to bet it's going to be like 10 Democrats, 1 Republican, so-called 4 independents or whatever the case be, which would all be a bunch of fucking other Democrats. So this would be like 14 Democrats, 1 Republican. Like, it would probably be like January 6th committee all over again, dude. I'm guessing, honestly, on that one. Like, it would be the most partisan fucking bunch of bullshit ever, dude. And then, of course, what would they do? You would most likely have... My guess, honestly, is these people's endgame. So we have 99 state house members right now. I would not be the least surprised to see them take that down to like 20, 25 or so and figure out a way to basically start turning like every place blue is what it is that they can. So if you have like, 20, 25 members in our state house or whatever the case be, then you would actually have the ability to have like 14, 15 Democrats in there because they would just redistrict the shit out of every place. There's what it is. Give like a bunch of major cities more powers what it be then for multiple districts, and everybody else gets to have like 1 or whatever it is there. Where in reality, like I said before, if we want to do it correctly, 88 counties, 88 reps, dude. Seriously. 1 county, 1 rep, bro. And then for the state Supreme Court, not state Supreme Court, for the state Senate, you would then do that as a 1/4 thing, where it would be for every 4 counties, you would have 1 state senator is what it is. Controlled over all of them is what it would be then. And you would just do it like 1, 2, 3, 4, that person here, 5, 6, 7, 8, there you go, that one, 9, 10, 11, 12, ding, 13, 14, 15, 16, derp, 17, 18, 19, 20, derp, 21 through 24, 24 through 28, etc., etc. So, yeah. And it would, like, that's the real issue comes down to being the fact that obviously you'd have people where some of them would be representing a couple 100,000 people, and some might represent, like, you know, a couple thousand people for that matter, depending on the counties and stuff like that were involved in that. But either way, it doesn't matter, dude. Like, and that's the problem right now with our state senate currently, is it's like 110,000 per state senator or something like that. That's why you have like all these weird ass county makeups where you have like this like sliver of one county, like it's maybe like a sliver of Stark County that's one person's for, and then it's like all of Columbiana County, all of Portage County, et cetera, or it's like Stark County, Portage County, Summit County, and then like a half of Knox County or whatever it is there, dude. And then somebody else is like the other half of Knox County, and then like a couple other counties too, for that matter. Yeah, it's fucking dumb, dude, is what it is. Because you have a person who should be representing, you know, this thing or that thing, or whatever it is, but in reality, they're representing like multiple counties, what it is. And it's sort of the same thing as well, for that matter, when you have our state house currently. When you actually, because I've called the people up several times to talk to them and stuff like that, and when you call them up, like whether it be I think it's Peterson District is one of them, and I know there's some other ones too as well, where it's like, you know, district whatever, and it's like proudly representing Knox County, Hamilton County, blah 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 blah, and it's like 3 or 4 different counties, what it is, dude. And it's like, bro, like what the fuck, you know? Like, no, you should be representing this county and this county only, is what it is. And then the real problem is, again, going back to Hamilton County, which is where Cincinnati is, then you have like 4 or 5 people all down there. They're all Democrats in the fucking major city itself. And then a couple other people outside of that too, for that matter. They're Republicans in the actual like outskirt townships and stuff like that there in the suburb area. Because I want to say it's Hamilton County's like 7 or 8 or whatever there, somewhere in there for reps currently. And then obviously, you know, Columbus is like 11 or 12, I think is what it is. Franklin County area. And then you have Cleveland, that's like 14, 15, 16, something like that. So yeah, it's a bunch of shit, dude, entirely. And again, if they wanted to, if you really wanted to be bipartisan, this whole thing, 1 county, 1 rep. That's bipartisanship right there, dude. If you don't back 1 county, 1 rep, you're a fucking sellout. You are sold out to whoever the highest bidder is at this point, and you can fuck right off, is what it is. And it's as simple as that, really. And I'm saying that directly to Marin O'Connor. I'm saying that directly to Yvette McGee, Brown, et cetera, dude, because you're all fucking scumbags. And the same thing with the rest of this bullshit coalition is what it is, dude. I guarantee you, if I looked hard enough into this whole coalition right now, I would either find direct ties to a Barack Obama, George Soros, Michael Bloomberg, or some other Democrat fuckery is what it is there. Like maybe like Oprah or somebody like that is what it would be then. So, anyway. Going back to what they were saying here, though, they said 15-person committee of Republicans, Democrats, Independents. Again, so basically RINO sacks of shit, piece of shit Democrats, and then fake-ass Independents would be. That would always lean blue. So the plan was first put forth Monday by, quote, citizens, not politicians, a newly launched coalition that boasts 2 former Supreme Court justices within their ranks, being O'Connor and Brown. Said, 1, the recently retired, you mean the recently termed / retired, ex-Supreme Court Justice Marin O'Connor previously joined with the court's 3 liberal justices, being the 4 scumbags that should have been in prison right now, honestly, for that whole thing, to repeatedly strike down congressional and legislative district maps passed by the Republican-dominated Ohio General Assembly and 7-member Ohio Redistricting Commission, respectively. So, however, maps that have been found unconstitutional ended up being used anyway to elect Ohio's current congressional delegation, and most state lawmakers. Republicans currently control 10 of 15 Ohio congressional districts, 67 of 99 Ohio House seats, and 26 of 33 Ohio Senate seats. Yeah, and those all go up, by the way. You used to have it be, I think it was like 64 in previous General Assembly, now it's 67. You had, I think it was 24 in the last General Assembly, now it's 26. And that's the thing, right? Like, there's a reason why in things that aren't one-horse races, because there are some of these that are one-horse races legitimately, but there are entire, places that are not, one-horse races where you actually have, like, both major political parties on the ballot there. People overwhelmingly choose Republicans, dude. Why? Because Republicans in the state of Ohio, for the most part, are not trying to fuck us in the ass and take away our gun rights and fucking kill our kids and then sterilize the ones that do make it out of the womb with hormone drugs and shit like that and try to transition these kids is what it is, dude. And that's the entire point of the matter. Like, there are hardline issues right now, dude. Nobody understands. Or nobody really gives a shit. It seems to give a shit anyway. That people are just sick and tired of it. And it's that kind of stuff right there. And this is the one thing that I fucking cannot stand about these fucking Democrats, dude, and these fucking sack of shit, fake ass liberals is what it is, dude. They want to sit there and be like, oh, the majority supports this. Oh, you mean the fucking, like, teeny little fraction of voter base from less than a fucking third of the state? Yeah, that's who supports it, jackasses. Or right around a third of the state, I think is what it is, actually. But yeah, going back to what was said here, O'Connor in a statement claimed Ohio was one of the country's most gerrymandered states. The proposal would end gerrymandering by empowering citizens, not politicians, to draw fair maps using an open and independent process. Bullshit. What you're going to do is you're going to redistrict the fucking maps, you dirty bitch, to sit there and put more Democrats in power. Go fuck yourself, Maureen, you fucking cunt. So another former Supreme Court justice, one-term appointee, Democrat Yvette McGee Brown, said the plan locks politicians and lobbyists out of the, quote, self-interested back room that exists today. Oh, you mean, so essentially what you're going to do is you're going to make your own back room then and make some fucking shady-ass deals with the 15 people that y'all are appointing to this fucking committee, I guarantee is what it's going to be, dude. It's not, and that's the thing, right? So what they're calling for is a 15-person committee being created. They never say how it's going to actually be the 15 people being chosen for that, by the way. Because it's not going to be people like me on that, by the way. It's not going to be elected 15 members. It's going to be selected 15 members, just like these fuckers always love to do. It's just like same with output agencies in this country. You don't have these people that run the FBI, ATF, etc., dude, being elected for that position. They are selected by pieces of shit like Joe Biden and then so-called appointed by fucking Senate is what it is there, even though you shouldn't be appointing anybody for those positions of power because, again, those agencies shouldn't fucking exist, just like this bullshit coalition doesn't need to fucking exist. One county, one rep. Pass it or shut the fuck up. And I continue on here, it says, what their plan would supposedly do. So, under the proposed constitutional amendment, 15-person redistricting commission would be in charge of drawing new congressional maps and legislative district lines in Ohio, first by September 2025, then again following a new U.S. census. Next census would be 2030. If the commission doesn't pass a map by the deadline, its members would pick a plan using, there you go, ranked choice voting. And that's how you cheat Democrats into office, dude. Fuck you, Maureen. Fuck you, Yvette, you fucking worthless cunts. We're not putting your ranked choice voting bullshit into place, you fucking whores. And that's exactly, by the way, why Teresa Gavarone in the state Senate recently was like, nah, fuck that, dude. We're going to outlaw ranked choice voting in Ohio, and as she should be doing that right now, and as everybody should be backing that right now in the state of Ohio that's currently in power in the General Assembly, because, again, ranked choice voting is, by the way, if you want Ohio to become California, yeah, allow ranked choice voting in place, dude, because that's what happens, by the way. Because what you do then is you basically have multiple Democrats in some bullshit jungle primary-esque thing that are all facing off against each other, then is what it would be. Because here's the thing, right? You could base the real problem with ranked choice voting entirely is most of the time we look at ranked choice voting, it's going to be everybody from all political parties on the same fucking ballot then. And you're basically choosing who you want to pick is what it is there. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever the case be. The issue with that is you could have a Republican being like the person at the top, really, like number one. But then you have two Democrats who would be like 2 and 3. And now all of a sudden you have so many people being like, oh yeah, Democrat number 2, Democrat number 3. And the person that's number one is a Republican or an independent, or whatever the case be there. Doesn't really matter. You know, let's just talk about Democrat Republican because it's gerrymandered right now is what it is for the the primary thing is fucking us over here in the state of Ohio, like it is many states actually for that matter, where you put in two-party primaries, would it be? Which easily could be fixed with open primarying and stuff like this would be, man, getting rid of the Strickland, or not Strickland, the Kasich Amendment for 2013 and actually bringing back all political parties in the state of Ohio to have representation again. And that's what we would do under one county, one rep, by the way. You would have anybody from Libertarian to Green Party to actual independence, Constitution Party, Internet Libertarian Party, the one I created in 2016, et cetera, there being on those ballots. You could have people run anything in those parties. It would be even communists and socialists and stuff like that if you really want to vote those people in. But the entire point of the matter is you would have fair representation against what would be there versus ranked choice voting, where it'd be like, no, you just have people basically, what they're doing actually is they're rigging the vote is what it is. Ranked choice voting there is what it is. Because you're having a person that should be number one in all those polls and actually be the representative there of whatever elected party. And instead they're like, nope, we're going to have these two people get more votes than them with like 100,000 people would be then. And so instead of having, you know, that person that was number one actually be the now incumbent or whatever in future elections, it would be these two fucking assholes underneath them that would be scoring off against each other in like some Democrat run primaries would be then. Or some Democrat run general election, that's what it would be for the ranked choice voting stuff. Yeah, it's like, that's the thing too, by the way. It is so fucking easy to rig the vote on those things, dude. It's exactly why you do not have ranked choice voting in pretty much any state in this country right now, except for maybe one. And even that one's very fucking shady right now, is what it is. So, actually, now I'm thinking about it, I think maybe Alaska's number 2 now. I'm thinking offhand now. So, yeah, so it'd be like California and Alaska, and that's the thing. Like California's even more than ranked choice voting. It's more like jungle primarying is what it is then. So it's like a worse version of ranked choice voting then. But yeah, the entire point is you want to get people in power that are going to be 100% Democrat every single time. That's how you do it, man. You start with quote unquote ranked choice voting, and then all of a sudden it becomes jungle primaries like the next election cycle or whatever then. And now it's basically just, oh, this is Democrat run state forever is what it'll be then. Fuck that, dude. This is why I'm going to sue the shit out of these people, by the way, if this ever does become a thing here, is what it is, if I can't get my one county, one rep off the ground first. So, like, enough is enough of these fucking worthless pieces of shit, dude. Being able to come forth and do this crap is what it is. So, anyway. But yeah, so basically they want to put ranked choice voting in place is what it really is, honestly. And that's how they get it done there. So the amendment which would require the Ohio legislature to approve $7 million to the redistricting commission by 2025, with the amount raising during subsequent redistricting cycles based on inflation. Fuck that. Yeah, you're never going to get that appropriation money, by the way. Fuck y'all. So commission members could not be current or former politicians, party officials, lobbyists, or quote, large political donors. So what they're really saying is, we're just going to find people who are not those things, but are totally siding with us all the time is what it is, dude. Yeah, it's all a bunch of crap, dude, entirely. So, okay, so by that logic, the former politicians / party officials, how do Brown and O'Connor both not meet that definition right now, dude? Because I guarantee they crap for themselves on that fucking thing. It would be. And the thing is, even if you're not, like, here's the thing right now, right? Even if you're not actually on the commission, it's not like you're not going to be there to fucking sway people's votes and shit, dude. As like some bullshit advisor or whatever for the fucking commissions would be then. Like, you seriously think we're that much of a bunch of fucking rubes over here, man? We're not, by the way. You know, that's the thing. Like, this is my autism just kicking in right now, dude. Like, just on top of my head right now, I'm thinking about this stuff, and I'm just like, yeah, how easy would it be for them to make this commission happen at that point, and then be like, well, they need an advisor, and I'm RINO O'Connor, and I'm an ex-Supreme Court justice, so I might as well just advise them in this thing. And oh, can I bring my friend DeVette in here too as well for this whole thing? We just have the advisory roles in this situation. No, fuck y'all, dude. Like, again, all they're trying to do is gerrymander Ohio blue is what it is, dude. And we're not a fucking blue state. We never will be again. Go fuck yourself, cunts. We are a red state, or at bare minimum, we are a constitutional state. So go fuck off, cunts. Anyway. Said, well, the Constitution currently states officials shall, quote, attempt to draw lines that don't favor or disfavor a given political party. New rules would require as much. So members of the commission would be selected, there you go, selected by a panel of 4 retired judges, 2 Republicans and 2 Democrats. So that's how they're going to do it. Then it's going to be Yvette and O'Connor being the 2 judges would be of the 4 there. Yeah, fuck that shit, dude. Again, you're not voting on these people, dude. You're selecting them, as I said earlier. It's going to be by selection. Fuck off, cunts. Okay, here you go. With the help of a professional search firm. So what they really mean is some Democrat fucking bullshit like Bloomberg crap is what it'd be. Said panel would, after conducting publicly broadcast interviews, whittled down the poll of applicants to 45 finalists, divided equally among Republicans, Democrats, and Independents. The panel would then randomly draw the names of 6 of those finalists to appoint to the commission. Those 6 would then select the remaining 9 members from among the other finalists. Oh my god, dude. Like, this is such a bunch of shit. Yeah, randomly drawn names my ass, dude. Fucking talk about rigging the vote, dude. No, they would rig the 6, and then those fucking 6 people would be like, well, I'm going to choose this Democrat, and 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 that Republican, and this Independent, and that Democrat, and that Democrat, and that Democrat. So you'd have like a really offset version of fucking Democrats everybody else knows what we, dude. So the proposal would set a number of eligible requirements to serve on the redistricting commission, including the appointees must have continuously lived in Ohio for the past 6 years prior to their appointment. Yeah, that's the thing I love, right? Shouldn't it be lifetime for that matter, dude? Not past 6 years. You know who's lived over 6 years, by the way? The fucking cunts from Connecticut who make up Moms Demand Action. That's who. Because they left their own shithole fucking state in 2013 and then moved here to fuck up ours is what it is, dude. Fucking bullshit, dude, entirely. Yeah, no, this should be lifetime. If you're going to do stuff like that, dude, make it lifetime Ohioan. You have to have lived here your entire fucking life to be even appointed to this shit. This is be a registered voter in good standing and disclose certain financial information and conflicts of interest. Yeah, nobody's going to do those last 2, by the way. So the appointees would also have a list to list their partisan political activities and within the past 6 years. Dude, that is some shady ass shit right there in general. It says, quote, any public office that they or any immediate family members were elected to or appointed to, any candidacy for public office, if they were or are a registered lobbyist, if they were or are an officer, paid consultant or contractor for political campaigns, political action committees, and or political parties, if they were or are a staffer, paid consultant or contractor for Ohio elected public office or candidate. It says once commission members are appointed, they would be required to hold at least 5 public hearings around the state. Yeah, so so 5 public hearings around the state, aka let's go to Columbus, Cleveland, Dayton, Cincinnati, and Toledo. 5 of Ohio's major 7 cities. And that's going to be our hearings with a bunch of Democrat assholes. Before releasing a draft redistricting plan, commission would then have to hold at least 5 more hearings to get public input on the draft plan and at least 2 public hearings on any revised draft. So yeah, again, go back to the 5 major cities, etc., there. So the proposed amendment would set a number of rules for the commission to follow when drawing congressional legislative maps, including that the proportion of districts that favor one political party must, quote, correspond closely to statewide partisan preferences of Ohio voters. We vote overwhelmingly Republican, by the way, dickheads. So unless you're going to do it that way, fuck off, Marine and Yvette. Seriously, bitches. Fucking sick and tired of your shit already here, man. Says politically comprehensive and geographical proximity. There you go. Racial, ethnic, and language minorities must be allowed elected candidates of their choice. So basically giving minorities a choice of like who they want to be on the ballot would be then, dude. and that commission members cannot consider where incumbent lawmakers live when drawing districts. A bunch of shit, dude. Again, one county, one rep. Simple solution to a fucking problem right now. Says when members of the redistricting commission step down, they wouldn't be allowed to be elected or appointed in public office for at least 6 years. Let's see. This is how redistricting fight, citizens, not politicians, effect could become Ohio's second overhaul in recent years of its decennial process of redrawing boundary lines from that form congressional and legislative districts. Votes in 2015, 2018 approved some changes to the system that left elected office holders to draw the district lines, but enacted procedural changes intended to limit partisan gerrymandering and force partisan compromise. However, a new scheme all but floundered on its first run as Ohio Supreme Court repeatedly deemed the congressional legislative district maps passed by only GOP backing to be unlawful gerrymandering maps, blah, 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 blah. So the federal court ruling in a lawsuit brought by the president of the majority anti-abortion lobby group. You know what? I love how they fucking say that shit, by the way. What they mean is pro-life group, you fucking worthless piece of shit. Who the fuck even wrote this piece of shit is what it is, dude. Jake Zuckerman, you scumbag. And Jeremy Pelzer. Fucking worthless assholes. Of course, you got to put that fucking jab in there, don't you little dicks? Because that's the thing, dude. They're a bunch of leftist hacks is what it is, dude. They're not really fucking reporters what it is here at all. But yeah, what they mean is pro-life lobbying group forced Ohio to implement the, quote, unconstitutional maps of 2022 after a landmark U.S. Supreme Court decision in June held that legislative redistricting maps are subject to court review. Ohio Senate President Matt Hoffman said the issue now is whether to redeploy the previous rejected congressional maps used in 2022 election or start a new map-making process over from scratch. So what happens now, to make the ballot, the organizers must clear 2 legal review overseen and controlled by statewide and legislative Republicans. Should they win approval, they must gather hundreds of thousands of signatures from at least 44 counties, which by the way would have been 88 underneath one count or issue 1 there, to make the ballot, which would then require a simple majority to win out. Chris Davey, a spokesman for the effort, said the preliminary petition circulation collected 7,300 signatures from 31 counties since Thursday, which apparently I guess was a bunch of farmers markets from what people were saying there. So this real clear indicator of the widespread nonpartisan support of the measure. No, it's fucking not, you sack of shit. Seriously, bro. 31 counties and you only got 7,300 people, you fucking ass clown. You had over 4 million people voting in this past election for issue 1, you fucking idiot. That's nothing, dude. That's a drop in the fucking bucket. Hell, you have more people than that going to Ohio State University right now, you fucking idiot. And the fact that you did that with pretty much like almost a third of the entire state right now, or just over a third of the entire state right now, more than a fourth actually, because 22 would be a fourth. So it'd be like, probably like, I don't know, like 30-something% or so of the state right now. Yeah, it's a fucking joke, dude. And that's the thing. Of course, you're going to go to the places you can actually get the fucking signatures would be, dude. You're going to go to your Franklin County or surrounding counties like that. Same thing with Cuyahoga County up there in Cleveland. Same thing with Hamilton County down there in Cincinnati. Montgomery County for Dayton, et cetera, and the surrounding liberal shitholes there. And you're going to get your fucking numbers what it is, dude. You do the same bullshit there with the abortion amendment, dude. You're going to have half the state know about the damn thing and back your bullshit. And you're going to have the state be like, where the fuck did this come from? Like, that's the entire problem right now, honestly, dude, in a nutshell. And the only thing I can say is, hopefully, given the fact you have to have requirements in this whole thing with the General Assembly's going to tell you to go eat shit, dude. I pray that happens, honestly. Because we're not going to let you fuck over Ohio and fuck over our 2A rights, bitches. We're not going to let you create some bullshit-ass, fucking fake-ass, bullshit, 100% partisan, bunch of crap to do map changes and stuff like that. Nah. Again, you want to do map changes? 1 county, 1 rep. For every 4 counties, there's 1 state senator. Doesn't matter who represents who. You could have one person represent 1 million people. You could have one person represent 100,000 people or less. Doesn't even matter, dude. The only thing that matters is you would have each one be 4 counties. So anyway, I'm just sick and tired of all of it, dude. I really am. And I think many other people are too, for that matter. Because we see the fuckery going on in our state right now. We see the complete partisan hacks, the RINO sacks that should be in prison right now, the fucking scumbag ass Democrats should be in prison right now, trying to fuck us over again and again and again. And we're not going to sit by and put up with it anymore, dude. I'm going to be actively vocal against this shit. I'm going to be actively vocal to the point where I'm ready to file lawsuits against these fucking people right now, dude. If this shit goes forward. I'm about to be on the phone pretty soon here. People, the General Assembly's still out for recess right now. I'm seriously about to start leaving messages today on all over people's phones is what it is, dude, and be like, hey, make sure this fuckery gets voted down. We don't need ranked choice shit in this fucking state right now. Or ever, for that matter. And even for that same matter, I'm actually going to see if I can talk to General Assembly members right now into possibly doing 1 county, 1 rep. Now, granted, that would mean some of them that are Republicans currently, specifically there's 3 here in Stark County that represent the entire county here. You would have the 3 of them basically have to come together and decide, like, okay, 2 of us are not going to be in office anymore if they were to back it. But that being said, though, you could still have them actually, potentially be in something else, and if that be the case. And the thing is, they could go be a mayor or something in one of the towns here. They could go be, something else for that matter, a township trustee or something like that, or even a county commissioner for that matter, or whatever then. Or even just get out of politics entirely and go back to their original lives where they used to have, other stuff. I mean, hell, Stolfus himself, the guy's family owns a business here locally. If I really wanted to, if I could, drive up in there real quick here, I could just go in there right now and basically probably talk to the guy this morning if I really wanted to. Like, that's how close he is to me. It'd be like a 5-minute drive from my house pretty much. And then for the other dudes, it would basically have to be going down to about 15, 20 minutes that way into the heart of Canton to talk to Jim Thomas, and then it'd be someplace over in the outskirts of Stark County area there to talk to Scott Ollinger. Or wait, is it Ollinger or Oslinger? I can't remember offhand. His name is really weird. So it starts with an O anyway. It might be Oslinger. But either way, that's the one guy that should be out of office anyway, because he and Schuring, the guy I was trying to run against last year for the state senate, was what it was. They had basically flip-flopped our General Assembly with each other a bunch of times already in the past, like 10 to 12 years or so, give or take. At least twice anyway in that time period. And that's the real problem right now. It's because he would have been termed out otherwise. And it's like, yeah, again, we don't need career politicians in power, man. What we need actual things. I was actually watching something last night on Rumble. It was a channel called 24/7 Ohio Politics. And there were some of these guys in there talking about stuff and talking about how Republican Party needed to embrace like all kinds of minorities and stuff like that is what it was for office and things like that. It's like, here's my thing with any of that shit, dude. I don't give a fuck who you are, as long as you actually give a fuck about the Constitution and are the best candidate for the race. It doesn't matter what you look like. Black, white, Latino, Asian, whatever. Male, female, doesn't really matter, dude. As long as you are the best candidate for that race. That's what we need to be doing right now. We need to be backing people in political races that are the best candidate for the race, not some fucking idiot who's going to be the worst candidate just because their party affiliate is what it is. And that's the problem, I think, with anybody right now, dude. Especially when you have down-ticket voting in these states like that, dude. And really, it goes back to, like, the one biggest problem I have with those people entirely that we're talking about that shit. It's like, first of all, you don't need to have a 2-party system, bro. You need to have all parties involved. Any third party, from Libertarian to Green Party to Internet Libertarian, Constitution Party, if the Democrats want to put forward fucking communist and socialist parties, etc., there, whatever then. But at least have these people representing a party that is truthfully what they represent is what it is. And if it means we have way more constitutionalists getting into office, that's what it should be anyway. It should be people who give a fuck about the founding of this country, give a fuck about the founding documents of this nation, aren't a bunch of oath-breaking motherfuckers who are going to sit there on day one. The first thing that they do when they take their sworn oath to office in the Constitution is within 5 to 10 minutes break it immediately. Or wait a day and then introduce a piece of legislation the next day that's anti-gun, anti-life, etc. there. Because again, those pieces of legislation should be an auto disqualifier from office right there. Auto disqualifier, and you're getting arrested for deprivation of rights of laws would be then. You're doing at least 1 day and 1 year and 1 day in jail, 366 days overall, and you're never allowed to hold office ever again. Is what would be then, and it'd be as simple as that, really. Which is actually one of the charges that RINO should have been charged with as a misdemeanor then. So, yeah, it's a bunch of shit all the way around. I'm fucking sick and tired of all of it. So hopefully we can get something going here and get some stuff done then, and be able to do things the correct way is what it is then. But who the hell knows, man? I feel like they're just gonna fuck us over no matter what. Like, we're just gonna keep getting fucked over consistently and consistently and consistently until we speak up and do something about this shit. And until that happens, nothing's ever really gonna change. So, am I really surprised that you got Dems and Rhinos coming together to fuck us all over? No, I'm not surprised at all on that matter, dude. I was waiting for this to come, honestly. That's the one thing I was waiting for issue 1. When it failed, to see their issue drop. That's exactly why I did what I did, and was talking about stuff before that, and was talking about lawsuits and things like that as well. Because truthfully, at the end of the day, that's what needs to be right now, honestly. And I really wish that people like those behind Ohio Right to Life would start suing the shit out of Bloomberg and stuff like that right now, dude. And the same thing with Soros for that matter as well on that. And if they needed people to be the plaintiffs and stuff in those cases and stuff, dude, or the people that were like their go-to guy or whatever, come find me, dude. I will be in that position forever. I will be person number 1 in that lawsuit, honestly. All day, every day. Because I'm sick and tired of these fucking globalist fucks, these actual child molesters in our country that are trying to fuck with human life or trying to rape kids, etc., and are doing all that while trying to steal guns so that we can't fight back against them, is what it is. So, yeah, just sick and tired of it, man. Real sick and tired of it. Anyway, that's about it for today. I will be back most likely later tonight on Honda's chat. We'll be doing the Taco Tuesday, whatever the hell you want to call that now. 2A Tuesday, whatever it is. And then I'll probably try to bring this up on that as well. And, just the fuckery going on this day is what it is then. But yeah, I think the biggest indicator of all that stuff on there is when you have legitimately O'Connor and Brown, etc., there being like, oh, but the person's only had to live here for 6 years now, and it's like, nah, fuck that, dude. If you want to have actual, bipartisan participation in those kind of things, dude, lifetime residency. You can't be some fucking transplant from another state. You can't be some fucking dipshit leftist from Connecticut or New York, wherever the case be, or California that moved to Ohio. Nah. You have to be a lifetime Ohio resident, born and raised. On the west side, where I spent most of my days. Sorry, had to do it because it was like on the tip of my tongue on that one. Yeah. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was one of the great shows during my childhood. Although, from what I understand, that new version is called Bel-Air was just garbage, though. It was all woke shit, is what it is in there. And more or less, like, very adult themed and whatnot. So, not a fan of that, dude. I'd rather be more in line with, hey, the guy just, like, left his house to go live with his family in another part of America and just have an actual comedy there, which the other ones, from my understanding, is more or less just, like, a drama and, like, very, like, raunchy and racy and stuff like that would be then. So, anyway, that's besides the point, though. The point I'm trying to make, though, is that, yeah, the Democrats and rhinos in the state can go fuck themselves, what it is. We're all sick and tired of it. Yeah, well, you'll have that when what is it, Atlanta area? I don't know if that's one county or if it's multiple counties that make up Atlanta, Georgia. But yeah, if you don't win Atlanta, you basically don't win the state there at all. If you're running for governor or wherever major city, major position of power there. So I know Kemp is a RINO though. The only reason he signed in constitutional carry there was to basically get the favor of the people, is what it was there. And I know that who is it? I forget if it's Georgia Secretary of State or if it's Georgia AG. That Brad guy that basically said that they weren't going to do change their election voting machines until after the 2024 election, dude. That dude is a fucking globalist puppet for sure. He was in a meeting here, when was it, about maybe 6 months, last 6 months or so, where it was basically a Bill Gates, like George Soros forum kind of thing or whatever. And he was hanging out with Gates and Soros and everybody else, like that's what it was. And I think, actually, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say Henry Kissinger was also there, but I could be wrong about that one. I think Henry Kissinger is still alive. I can't remember. It was one of those kind of guys like that. Maybe I'm thinking of a different person. Klaus Schwab, maybe is who I'm thinking of. That would make more sense. Yeah, I think maybe it wasn't Soros. Maybe it was Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab. Now I'm thinking about it, but or their proxies anyway. It would have been Bill Gates legitimately, but it would have been like a proxy or something for Klaus Schwab then, or maybe it was like Alex Soros and not George Soros. But either way, it was a bunch of those fucking globalist assholes that are trying to fuck over humanity and destroy us all, is what it is. And it was basically some backdoor ass meeting there. And yeah, the guy came out of it and was like, "Oh yeah, it's so good now. We're gonna do things the correct way now, whatever the case be. We got these voting machines now and stuff like that." And it's like, yeah, so you're basically admitting you're still in 2024 is what it is, dude. That's all it is. But yeah, it's just fucking pathetic, is what it really is, honestly. And I think the real issue, and it goes back to something I mentioned a little bit ago here now, where you have oh yeah. I was trying to figure out what we're talking about there. So yeah, talking about Fresh Prince. But yeah, no, seriously though. So the biggest problem is when it comes to any of this stuff is what I was saying earlier with those dudes that were talking about like candidates and stuff like that or whatever. It's like, yeah, you have the best candidate for the race, not just some dumbass is what it is, dude. And that's the problem with many politicians in this country. It's like, yeah, they're just a bunch of dumbasses, dude. I mean, you got LaRose bitching and moaning this morning about like open borders and um, fentanyl and other drugs being brought across them and stuff like that. And he was like supposedly some like border task force guy at one point in the past or whatever during his military career there. But yet he himself, being Secretary of State since 2019, has done nothing in the past 4+ years now to actually look into the voter fraud that Sherrod Brown committed in 2018 midterms, of which I've called his ass out dozens of times over that one. Hell, I called him up this morning about that shit. And he still doesn't do shit about it, dude. Like I said before, man, give me the fucking voter rolls. I will literally drive around to graveyards in this state and confirm that these people were dead long before 2018 midterms. And I will find you the voter fraud that you're looking for. And when I bring you 10, 20, 100, 1,000 fucking names, whatever it is, then you can actually indict that motherfucker Sherrod Brown for voter fraud. And that's the entire point right now, man. Like, Sherrod is the biggest sack of shit ever. He is 100% a cheater. We've known he's a cheater for almost 6 fucking years now. And yet nobody seems to give a shit enough to actually investigate this stuff. Because again, it's a mix between laziness and corruption on their side. And that's why I said before, if it was up to me, everybody gone, all 120 something people right now that are in Ohio's major statewide offices, and we start fresh with brand new races and stuff like that. Get rid of the bullshit 2-party primarying system. bring in all kinds of other parties and candidates, etc. You have way better participation then. You have way better candidates then. You have a lot more constitutionalists in the race then. And we don't have a bunch of Republicans in power now. We have like some Republicans, some Democrats, and we have a whole bunch of independents and stuff like that. A whole bunch of third-party candidates is what it would be then. That would be a bunch of constitutionalist types. And we would have an actual true representation of what Ohio really looks like is what it is then. Which is like, semi-red, but then it's also maybe like a little bit of pockets of blue. But then there's also like a bunch of other stuff in there. Like there'd be some orange, there'd be a little bit of green, there'd be like all kinds of stuff. I'm not sure exactly what the color would make at the end of the day. It might be like some kind of like weird dark coloration, like almost like a black coloration or something like that then. So anyway. Yeah, and that's another big thing. We have to just stop doing the lesser of two evils bullshit. And it really does start with like having everybody go out there and be like, hey, enough of this two-party fucking primarying system. No, we have open primaries of every single political party in the race that wants to be in the race. And you actually have true candidacies again, is what it would be then. You actually have true civil servants again. You don't have politicians, especially not career politicians at that point. You have actual civil servants, people who take a sworn oath to the Constitution to uphold the motherfucker. They don't sit there and take a sworn oath to the Constitution and then like 10 minutes later sit there and oath break like a son of a bitch. No, they take that oath and they swear that oath and they maintain that sworn oath throughout their entire tenure in office. And if they break their oath, they're gone. And it's as simple as that, really. And if we had that kind of stuff in place right now, you'd have a much better country overall. Would it mean that you'd have governors left and right being thrown out of office over various shit? Probably. Same thing with General Assembly members, etc. there. But then that's the whole point. You would see people being like, oh, well, what do they do? And it's like, well, they broke this law and this law and this law, and they introduced this piece of legislation that was unconstitutional, as well as this one and this one and this one. And people were like, okay, well, now I know what not to do now in the future. And then you'd have other people come in there and replace these people, and they would be better candidates over the time period then. And it'd be as simple as that, really. So, anyway, that's about it for today, though. Like I said, I'll be back tonight with Honda and the company. I'll be back probably not until Thursday for Buckshot Thursday. We're doing this two-way scenario stuff as well on that one. And just discussing most likely 2A of the day kind of articles and whatnot then. So, and then Freedom Friday, we'll be discussing a lot more about freedom and liberty and why we need to protect at all costs at this point. It might be a Civil War chat. I don't know. It might be a balkanization chat. I really don't know yet. Depends on the mood of the day at that point, honestly. I'm pretty angry right now, so I'm also pretty sick and tired of all of it. So we'll see what happens here. But I got some stuff I got to do here in a little bit, and then I'm going to go about the next 15 minutes or so, and then I'll be taking a nice little respite because I kind of fell asleep in the chair out in the living room this morning, and then nodded off for like an hour or two there is what it was, a couple different times, and yeah, I'm very tired right now, but I figured I'd shoot this early because I'm actually awake enough to be sort of coherent and instead of waking up like 4 or 5 hours from now and shooting at like 4 o'clock this afternoon or something like that. So, but anyway, either way, that's pretty much where we're at for the day. I really wish we could just set things back to square one on a constitutional basis. What it will take to do that, I have no idea. I mean, I could go into a whole bunch of detail right now of stuff, but I'm not going to do that, honestly, because, again, I was already federally swatted once in 2019. I don't need to happen again in 2023. So, anyway. Fucking bullshit weaponization of the state against me. And people wonder why I hate the left so much. There you go, man. When you literally try to take my freedom over some bullshit what if scenario thing, y'all can fuck yourselves forever is what it is, man. But you know what you did on that one? You woke up a pissed off sleeping bear is what it was. So, anyway, there was actually, now I'm thinking about it before I leave today, there was actually one guy in the Georgia governor's race in 2022. I forget what his name was offhand, but he was a dude who was a constitutionalist type, but he was basically a no-name person is what it was. and he would have been a better governor than Kemp, actually. That's the guy I was actually back in the primaries and stuff there, but unfortunately, Kemp being the incumbent, that's the problem really with politics in general. It's very, very hard to beat an incumbent, especially if you're a grassroots candidate that has next to no money on your coffers versus somebody that has all the party money in the state and has literally millions of dollars in their coffers already as would be. So, or in the case of like somebody like Illinois current governor GB Pritzker, that dude's a fucking billionaire, and that's the real problem right there. And that's exactly why I've said many times on this channel why we need to get money out of politics entirely, and why there should be money caps on every single political race across the board up to a certain amount. And of course, the amounts would differ depending on the position. Like a governor would be, maybe a million, million and a half at most, or something like that, versus like a state rep that would be like no more than like 50 grand or something. And the same thing with like state senator, like 50, 75,000 or less is what would be there to do political shit with. And then for, Congress, it'd be probably the same thing. Same thing as a governor, maybe a little bit less even for that matter, to where it would be potentially, because really what the whole point would be making is it would be a way to put these people under a cap to where they would have to be physically responsible with how they want to do their campaigns. Because if they can't be that physical responsibility to even run a campaign like that with a budget, how the hell are we expecting them to run a state or, a federal position of power and stuff like that to actually be budget minded when it comes to passing bills and stuff like that as would be then? And I think that would be a good idea, honestly, across the board, just based on that alone, because it would be like, no, you can only spend this much money. And if you go over that much money, then guess what? You get either heavily fined or you're just out of the race entirely, is what it would be. Like I would say, honestly, it should be like almost like a 2 strikes and you're out kind of thing, where it'd be like the first one's like, oops, we went over by like a little bit or whatever here, do some ad buy or whatever it was. And it's like, depending on the amount, like, okay, you're just getting like a heavy fine, like a deduction or whatever from your campaigns would be then. And then if you do that shit again, like during that race or something like that, then boom, you're just out of the race entirely. That's what it would be. So, because again, it shows that you're obviously too stupid to actually put yourself under a budget situation and be budget minded to where you're just going to continue to over budget everything and stuff like that is what it would be, or like over, like, maybe budget things or whatever the case be, but then you like over project shit or whatever and go way outside the budget would be. So, yeah, not the kind of people we need in office, is what it is, man. And that's the one thing about why Trump was so great in the presidency, dude, because he was a businessman. He understood what the fucking deal was there. Now, granted, did he sign a bunch of omnibus bills into place that were put like trillions more in our national debt? Fuck yes, he did. And that's the problem right there entirely. But again, that's why omnibus bills shouldn't exist. Period. Like that's another thing that should be a law right now. You should be not allowed to make any kind of omnibus bill. And I would go as far as to say any bill over really 30 pages would be then. I remember when there was, I forget which guy it was, like Herman Cain or somebody maybe back in the day, who was talking about like 3-page bills and stuff like that, where he's like, no bill should be about 3 pages. And it's like, yeah, it's that's kind of a little bit extreme there, buddy. But like at the same time, it's like, yeah, there should really be like maybe like a 20 or 30-page limit to every single bill is what it would be then. And you have to read like every single page is what it would be then before you pass any of that legislation, it would be then. And if you're not going to read the bills, then you can't fucking put the legislation forward, is what it would be then. And it'd be as simple as that, really. So, and if that means that we only have, 10, 12, 14 bills a year or whatever passed through Congress / all their president's desk and stuff, and that's what that means. And that's how it should be anyway, because again, you shouldn't be passing massive ass amounts of fucking spending and trillions of dollars in debt added to our national debt, et cetera, there. Meanwhile, your old asses are going to be dead in the next 10 years or so before it ever gets paid off. And we literally have $1 trillion now in fucking interest to our national debt every single time now. It's a bunch of shit, dude, entirely. And again, it's people that never had a financial mindset to them because they don't care, dude. It's like, oh, money printer go burr. Politician go bye-bye. Off to prison. Fuck you. Get the hell out of here, bitch. It's as simple as that, dude. So, anyway. But yeah, that's about it for the day, though. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you all on the next one. Look for Honda's chat later tonight. I'll be on that one later.